Hey, YouTube. I wanted to just talk a minute about. Um, you might have noticed that a lot of YouTube videos are geared towards this whole unleash the power of the mind and how your mind is so powerful that you can overcome just about anything in life just by using your mind, So, in the last, I don't know how long, maybe, I guess within 5 years, who knows? Maybe it's been going on longer than that. But you've always seen these videos of people that are talking about how the mind, you can control your wealth and everything else with your mind. And so they put so much focus on the mind and how you can create things and be so artistic with the mind. But yeah, they don't really talk much about the body. You know what I mean? Everything's all mind related. So I wanted to just kind of address that for a minute. I am 56 years old, and I've kind of seen this shift that went from people actually going out and working for a living and working hard and making money and using their bodies to make their money. And not that they don't still do that. A lot of people still do that. But there's this huge shift, especially with younger people, of thinking that I can have anything I want if I just kind of manipulate the use my mind to to get what I want. Um, and I guess that's fine, but I kind of wonder, does it work for anybody out there? Like, is anybody getting success by just trying to um, harness the power of your mind? I mean, there's a lot of things called mindfulness, spirituality. Um, all kinds of different things that people try to hook into to change their perception on things and basically maybe to fight depression or anxiety or this, that, and the other. But I've noticed that a lot of people that I know, um, that I've met in the last probably 10 years, most of them have children, that are uh, people I know are my age, but they have children that are probably in their 20s, maybe even early 30s. And a lot of them say that basically they do nothing. The kids don't do anything. They kind of live in the parents' house, so they're just always got some newfangled idea coming up. Um, so I wonder how much of this is because they're being manipulated by this so-called trend to boost your life through just your mind and thinking that I don't know what it is, but there is some kind of strange thing that has to do with mind control and harnessing the power of the brain. Now, I think that's great if it works. My only problem is that in my experience, if I sat there and just thought all the time when I was younger, I would basically be on the street being considered one of those people that just sits there and just talks to himself all day. You wouldn't be considered someone who was um, any smarter or had anything up on anybody else. So I don't know. I mean, I'm getting old. I'm getting older. So, but I went in the Marine Corps at 17 years old, and they beat my ass into the ground. We had to do push-ups, sit-ups, side straddle hops, all this crazy stuff, up and on shoulders, and you were told what to do, and you did it, and then at the end of the day, you were rewarded. End of the week, whatever, 2 weeks, you get a paycheck, which I loved getting a paycheck. But I couldn't have done it if I had sat there and just tried to harness my mind and just been so visual on everything, but never really did anything, but just sat around. Those are kind of considered like, um, I guess you call them like the surf gurus or um, surf bums. I don't know. I mean, you had beach people that would just kind of sit there and get stoned, you know. So those were more of the people that were like really into deep thinking and LSD and all this other stuff. And then, so what I'm trying to get at is that maybe my generation is too old to understand this new age thinking where we're all about harnessing the mind. You see a lot of this stuff in ads nowadays. You see a lot of it in the way advertising, like with affiliate marketing, for instance, with ads. You know, there's this whole thing where people will use certain phrases and keywords, you know, to get you to kind of read the content and basically order a program or something. You know what I mean? But there's no real manual work involved. It's always just kind of let me kind of manipulate stuff to make it sound real good, so somebody will buy something from me. Which in my day, that was kind of looked at like it's just a scam and people are hustling and stuff. But maybe I'm wrong because maybe I'm just obsolete and I've gotten older. And I remember back in the day that if I didn't go out there and work real hard, I didn't eat. I didn't eat. I didn't get paid. So I basically went in the Marine Corps, and I also and I spent 4 years in the Marines, and then I also spent 3 years in the Navy. Um, and the thing is, for me, I didn't have a family, so I had no one to go back to when the times got tough. So I ended up homeless a few times, which kind of sucked. I mean, it really sucked. And probably developed some mental blocks and stuff in my brain that kind of made me do some stupid stuff, made poor choices in life. Um, but I bounced back and went back and did electrical. I took a 4 year electrical course and I got my journeymanship, and that was great. And I worked that electrical stuff for a few years, for about 10 years. Um, and now at 56, I'm pretty much retired after working about 30 years. But at no time did I ever could I ever figure out how to tap into this whole brain. I find it fascinating. Same with mindfulness and spirituality. I find it extremely fascinating, um, especially if it can help with some anxiety and depression. I think it's a great thing. So I'm wondering if anybody else has any ideas on this topic. Do you think it's a better way to live, or is it better to just live with this whole mindfulness, spirituality thing? And at what age is that best for a person, or is it best to go out there and work like a dog, dig ditches, or whatever you have to do to make it? Now, this is for people that say don't have the money to go to college. You can become a psychologist or whatever, a lawyer, doctor, whatever. Um, I'm talking mostly for people that were like in the blue collar world that made their money um, uh, with their hands, because that's pretty much all I ever knew. So this whole new mindfulness thing I find it somewhat interesting, but it's also kind of confusing because I've tried some of the techniques, and sometimes it seems like it works, but other times it just seems like a lot of nonsense. I don't know. Tell me what you think, and I look forward to hearing from you. Have a good one.